Hi, I'm Paul the Physio. Sorry to hear you've been having some trouble with your knees, feet or ankles. On the page below me here, you can read about how these problems rarely exist in isolation, and for a lot of people we're going to end up with some tight feet, so there's some tips and tricks to help you loosen that area off below. Or you can keep watching this video where we'll show you one of our all-time favourite integration moves for the lower part of your body. So this is our detailed look at single leg stance plus eye stars. If this is the one that really stood out as difficult, the first thing we want to understand is you are probably relatively visually dependent for your balance, which means you are essentially taking more information from your eyes than you are from your inner ears and the rest of your body relative to other people. So it does push us to think that as well as working on this stuff, improving your vestibular inner ear function with things like smooth wobbles, head flicks and thumb stares is going to be an important part of your journey towards unbroken. But working on this movement is really relevant and really important for pretty much anybody who finds it difficult, particularly if you struggle with things like stability, comfort during like locomotion, standing, running, those kind of tasks where we're on our feet. And the basic thing we're after is the ability to stand on one leg, pick a line of the star and then move our eyes along that line without losing balance. So we can think side to side and vertical are the first ones we want to check. And you can hold your thumbs out like I'm doing here, or you can just pick points in the room and move your eyes from looking up towards the ceiling, looking down towards the floor. So long as you're specific about where you make your eyes go to and from, whether you've got targets up or not is really up to you. So we've got horizontal, vertical, and then we want to think the diagonal lines are really important to check as well. And we are looking for any particular line that stands out, which will be some people who struggle with this stuff, or do you just struggle with all of it, really? So if we first take that scenario where we struggle with all of it, the thing we want to do essentially is lower the balance challenge a little bit to make the eye movement seem more manageable. And if we're this far into balance, we don't really want to go back to two-legged stance. So we're just going to take that kickstand of the big toe slightly behind the leg that we're focusing on as a way to make balance a little bit easier. So big toe down and only really enough the weight of your leg in it. You're just looking to use it to stabilize. You still want pretty much all of your weight going down through the standing leg. So in this position here, we can then repeat the movement again, and it will be easier as a result of that big toe being down. And then I can think once I'm moving in a way that feels controlled, I can try just lifting that back foot up for a couple of seconds at a time while the eyes keep beating along the line. So the easiest way to make it easier is to place the big toe on the ground, and that is going to be a good way for a lot of people to kind of get going on these exercises. So that's the first kind of regression that we can make, is to put the toe down. And then the second thing we can do is think about overtly stabilizing the neck. Essentially what's happening when this feels difficult is your brain is sort of predicting the future and assuming that when you look in a certain direction, you want to move in that direction, so dragging the muscular system in the same direction that the eyes have just moved. So we can resist that a little bit by increasing muscular tension around the face and the neck and the jaw. So things that tend to be really useful is essentially to lock in our midline. So that would be clenching our jaw and then pulling our chin back slightly. So think about taking the crown of your head as high in the air as you can, so you get a little bit of a double chin appearance towards the front, and then in that long tall neck position we're going to clench the jaw into a squeeze position. So chin is tucked, crown is pulled up, jaw is clamped on, and then with those things going on, hopefully your head will stay a little stiller and you'll be more resistant to those eye movements side to side. So our third way to improve single leg eye star is to essentially just reduce the size of the star. So it sounds obvious, but if we're trying to move our eyes a really big distance, it's going to throw our balance off more than if we're trying to move them a small distance. So if you just keep wobbling as soon as that big toe's off the floor and you don't get much from increasing the midline tension in your neck and jaw, then simply reduce the size of the eyeball movement to the point where you are able to get a few seconds of work done before the kind of wobbles kick in. And so long as you're on one leg for kind of 5+ seconds, you're sort of training at the right level. We don't want failure every single time it happens, but we don't want to make it too easy either. But reducing the size of the star to the point where you are winning for 5 to 10 seconds at a time is sensible. And then once that's getting a little bit easier, we'll just simply extend the line a little bit and ask the eyes to move a bit further. But you will be able to feel the difference of just simply drawing in to even really quite small targets. And that will still create noticeable changes in balance and require definite active control of your eyeball movements. So 3 basic ways to get into eye stars. One is to kickstand with the big toe, using that increasingly less and then making it kind of intermittent. The second is to put a load of tension into the neck and jaw to overstabilize that whole area and resist the movement more. And then we can just be less ambitious and reduce the size of the star that we're making so that we're able to win more than we lose at the balance game we're playing.